Hello and welcome back to everyone on the WrestleMania and to NXT Stand And Deliver out of 10. The biggest NXT show of the year is here, and yeah, what a strong looking card it is. Obafemi defending his NXT Championship against Trick Williams and Siobhan Evans. Stephanie Baker defending against Julia Jordan Grace and Jada Parker in a fatal 4-way, and much more. And we started things off with a number one contender for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and it came down to Fallon Henry and Jason Jane against Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. After some miscommunication against Faith Limits, the Cemetery Drive sealed the win for Paxley and Dolan. A solid match with some great execution from certain stars, in particular Roxanne Perez, Fallon Henry, JC Jane and Tatum Paxley delivered. Dolan remains too awkward a performer for her position in NXT. She and Paxley are trying to build a tag team, but it feels like their supposed rookies carrying the momentum. It's a waste to eliminate Lash Legend and Jakara so early, but it's like just setting the stage to the Meta Girls to head to the main roster soon. Jade walked out on Perez to set up the Prodigy's last big match for our main roster jump. Putting over Jade on her way out makes total sense. So yeah, on the whole, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Moving on then to Ricky Saints against All Ego Ethan Page, and a physically intense battle between these two nearly ended with a new champion. However, the Revolution kicked out the Ego session, hit a spear into the Roshambo for the victory. This was stiff in a way WWE typically avoids, but two veterans on WrestleMania weekend were not going to hold back to make their mark. The value of these two working NXT is giving a new stars a chance and to see what works and how to deliver in the ring. This match was a perfect example. If newer stars like the Dark State, the Cullen, Tyson DuPont and Gui watch this and take it to heart, they can improve their own in-ring work. All around, this is a strong showcase for two of the NXT's best experienced stars. Page always delivers, but Saints bump big and hit hard looks just as good. This is never going to be a dramatic match, as Saints could not lose quickly. Instead, this may indicate All Ego's time maybe coming to an end in NXT, and a main roster would make sense given its experience. 7 out of 10. We then got Fraxian versus Hank and Tank, and they battled with the same endurance that pushed them through the gauntlet, and Fraser and Axiom simply could not keep up. After Tank took out Axiom with a top rope suicida, Hank and Tank collided with Fraser in the ring and hit the honk Hank the victory. This rocked. As good as Fraxium have been as a unit, this may be their best match of their entire reign. Hank and Tank kept out with them as few can, making each move look great, and they looked like a true stars throughout. The crowd was rolling, and this began believing in challengers down the stretch to the point they got the loudest reaction so far for the honk before the finish. No team was ever better positioned to dethrone Fraxium. It took even longer than expected, but this one definitely makes sense. They should take over the tag team division, and really dominant. Fraxium have been great, and I think they should go to the main roster as a duo, just based on how good they've been. But this is a brilliant match. I think NXT finally has fitting new tag team champions. So 8 out of 10. We then got the Women's North American Championship ladder match. Sol Rooker and Zarya worked well together until the closing stages, where they met at the top of the ladder. The Surfer knocked down her tag partner and hit 3 other women with soul snatches before heading up to the top to get the victory. A fun ladder match with some set-up spots involved. She had a way to the chance, and this made the most of it. The main problem is simply that the multi-wrestler ladder matches like this are played out behind the soul snatches at the end of the contest and the win. It's hard to imagine much will be remembered from this one. It's an interesting choice to give this to Rooker after spending so much time building Zarya and Rooker's connection as a team. Thea seemed perfectly positioned for this moment. Load of Ice has been waiting for push. Even Izzy Jane would have had the opportunity. Kalani Jordan was the only one who did not need the victory. In the end, only one woman can win, and Rooker should be the good champion. NXT will just have to wrestle with whatever they have and Zarya together after this. A match between them would have been worthy for the PLE. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I think, maybe not the right winner. The match maybe didn't click as much as what I saw on other stuff. It wasn't bad, but just a few little criticisms kind of bring it down. Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo worked together for a while, but arguments escalated until Stacks low-blowed the Don in their match against Dark State, and that set up the double team on the Don to seal the victory for Dark State. This was much better than it looks to be on paper, helped by every man in Dark State stepping up to the moment. They brought an aggression that sold them as top guys, making it likely they could have defeated the family alone. However, the tension in the air has finally broken up the family. The Don called for it for weeks, showing that he was smart enough to see this coming. At the end of the day, though, he had to believe Stacks would hold his word in order to combat Dark State. It didn't work out for Tony D. It's a shame the family never made it to the main roster, but it sets up the Don to put over the Stacks on his way up, leaving the underboss to prove himself. It was a significant push to sell Stacks as well if he was taking on the family. Right now, it looks more like the Don would have taken him out for his betrayal. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. A good start for Dark State, an intriguing story between Stacks and Tony D. Kind of intrigued to see where it goes, but I think, a solid start for Dark State, which is the main thing. We then got the women's title match between Vaquer, Julia and Jordan Grace and Jada Parker. Four of NXT's top women battled with intense focus, all close to a victory, but the Dark Angel was just a little faster in the competition. Grace caught Julia with a juggernaut bomb, but took the hip tonic Parker, then blasted the Beautiful Madness with another hip tonic, but fell right into Vaquer's SVB for the loss. This was not always clean, but it was good fun throughout. Everyone got a moment to shine and no one looked like a loser. While Vic Joseph called after the match was follow that, felt too strong. This lived up to the hype of the talent involved. With Vaquer's expected retention, NXT has months of exciting matches. They didn't interact with Julia and Vaquer much, so yeah, keeps an intriguing match there. Vaquer v Grace, obviously, so yeah, there's a lot going on. Parker had the most trouble keeping up, but she still looks like a future star, so yeah, this was great stuff. And then we got Trick Williams versus Obafemi versus Siobhan in the main event. After consistently high octane action, Siobhan doubled the OG cutter on Trick Williams and Obafemi, followed by a springboard corkscrew on the ruler. However, Trick caught the young OG with a trick knee, followed by a fall from Grace to Trick and Evans to win. The idea of this triple threat was to keep all three men in the action as much as possible rather than a series of one-on-one clashes, which led to a significant amounts of choreographed spots. Most of them went well, though there were some miscues that the commentators struggled to explain away. This is inevitable though, given how much these three were willing to do pop the crowd, and it ultimately led to a wild and consistently exciting main event. The whole night delivered on strong action and clear stories, and this was main event worthy. Oba deserved to retain as he continues to deliver in spades with his opportunities, so it did feel fairly anticlimactic for the finish. With all the Dark State Caesars, they didn't have any impact on the main event. The titles didn't change hands, especially allowing Evans to become the youngest champ. While NXT can always rely on big story moments ending like WrestleMania, this will likely be forgotten the ending. The main event lacks a talking point WWE can echo as fans tune in on Tuesday. So yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a really good match. But, you know, maybe you could have ended with kind of a bigger moment, if you get what I mean. So 7 out of 10. Overall, Stand and Deliver gets 7 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, on the whole, it was a pretty fun show. You know, some big moments on the card. Maybe some may have expected some bigger moments. So I thought, on the whole, we got some excellent matches. Really enjoyed the tag match. The last two matches, of course, were great, as we knew they would be. So yeah, on the whole, I thought it's the perfect kind of warm up heading into Mania. Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme, and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.